Tom, we were standing next to each other in the press box, and we jokingly said, I think we're going to have a lot to talk about on Monday, which we are. Start with the quarterback position. And I was wondering, I think a lot of people were wondering, would we see Malik Hornsby in the second half? What changed for KJ in the second half of this football game, Tom?
Yeah, good morning, guys. And oh gosh, I think I could go for 2 seconds with y'all today. There's so much to dissect, but
we can do it.
I asked KJ that, and I asked Sam Pittman about that. What changed? I think they got more comfortable with some downfield throws. If you go back through the first half, they were looking at throwing screens. I think they just wanted to build his confidence, and they were throwing screens and some short little curls and stuff, but nothing down the field. And that pass to Tyson Morris, as y'all just mentioned, I think did set everything off. It was just so weird the way the game plan went, because I thought Traylon Smith in the run game was just doing fine. And it was when they got into the third and shorts in the first half, and they got a little bit tricky in trying to get the ball to Traylon Burks, that things kind of backfired. And also KJ, I think, just started out nervous. Some of his early throws were really high and just delivered with such velocity. He's got to be able to calm that down, because if they start like this against Texas, I don't think they'll have any chance to win the game. But he just grew confident in the game plan, and I think you have to look at this from Arkansas's point of view a little bit from the game planning. That Traylon Burks is our best player. We have to get him the ball. These things all worked in practice. They just didn't. The timing of them was off in the game.
Tom, on the other side, your other best player on defense, Jalen Catalon, was anything but spectacular. 2 interceptions. I have yet to see him miss a tackle in a Razorback uniform. What did you think about his performance, and how much can he be helped the rest of the way, elevating his NFL draft stock?
Oh, gosh. It's everything that you thought of from this guy. In other words, his film study was spot on for this game. He saw things, he diagnosed them, he got to them. He was in on the fourth down stop. He was in on another play that they were trying to go wide with. And it's everything you thought. I mean, he was back there playing center field on the tip ball for the interception, and then on the deep one later in the game when Rice got a little bit desperate. But he's a phenomenal player, and man, you would take 11 Jalen Catalons on defense.
Tom, one thing we haven't brought up, and now I guess is the time to broach the subject, it's special teams. You open the game up with a fumble on the opening kickoff return. You cover it back up. Block punt, a punt that went kind of across the field into the wind. There's a lot to still shake your head about when it comes to special teams. Where do we begin with the third unit of this team? We were hoping to see a great deal of improvement, but we saw anything but that on Saturday.
You're right, but here's the thing. When they were at their best, like Ladarius Bishop's kickoff return after it was 17-7, that was well done. He got to the sideline, used his speed, and got to the 43 to start that drive. The next play was the Tyson Morris catch. So that was bam, bam, and they were in scoring range. But you're right. I don't know if the shield blocker on the edge, I think it was Shane Clennon, just did not see that guy Orji going by him. I mean, that's an easy. All you got to do is sidetrack the guy, and it's not a block punt. So that was disastrous. The punt into the wind. I think somebody on the punt team let the ball bounce back toward the Arkansas goal line another few yards too. So they've got work to do there for sure. And if they had lost the opening kickoff, that would have been another chapter to the disaster. So just work to do. And the ones that I think what happens is when you're in camp, you get so used to playing real physical on every side of the ball in special teams. And then you get into a game, you're like, you can't grab guy. You can't put your guy in the back. On special teams, it gets seen. And I just think they're so physical in camp that they kind of forget. Because when we see one-on-one drills and stuff, there's a lot of pushing between the DBs and the wide receivers. And then when you go into a game, that stuff's going to get called. So they just got to be more alert to that. It's funny, two of their key guys this year, Ketron Jackson, so many plays involve him. You know, the callback on the KJ Jefferson 68-yard touchdown run. He had a block in the back on a punt or kickoff. And then he had a really good catch. So I think he's coming along. But Ladarius Bishop, y'all, a couple of good kickoff returns. One was fumbled. And then they kind of went after him on the post route. I mean, he was just looking in the backfield on that. Nothing tricky about that route. It wasn't really a double move. The guy just jabbed step with the left foot and then ran a post, and he ran by him. Yeah. So he's got to get better. I do think that the pass interference call against him was bogus. He had his left arm just touching the guy's back and reaching around with the right arm, and that was a bad call. But two of your more interesting, skill guys really highlighted in that game.
Yeah. You and Ty were talking just a moment ago about, the thought of Hornsby maybe entering the game in the second half, which he didn't. I thought Arkansas was really aided by the fact that Rice couldn't really settle in on a quarterback, and I'm not sure one pulled ahead of the other with Wiley Green and Luke McCaffrey, but I thought that was a big part of this game that, we haven't really spoke a lot of because it's not Arkansas, but Rice and the two-quarterback system I thought was I thought it really hampered Rice more than it helped Rice. What were your thoughts on that?
And to hear Mike Bloomgren talk during the lead-up, you just felt like Luke McCaffrey was going to be a wonder kind. And Arkansas schemed up really well. He ran the ball on like a 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 in Arkansas territory and did not let him escape. And that's the play. Somebody got him down, and it set up the 4th and 1, and they stopped it. So McCaffrey never, with his legs, I just thought for sure his legs were going to be a difference maker, and they limited him. Now, I think on the other side, had Arkansas gotten to a lead, I think we would have seen Malik Hornsby, but it got so tense so fast after Arkansas's first touchdown drive, they were in a field position deficit for the rest of the half. And even though it didn't cost them that much, they only got behind 10-7. If they play similarly in an SEC game or next week, they could have been behind like 31-7 or 27-7 at halftime, and potentially a deficit you can't make up. Yeah. So, in a way, Rice was scrappy team, but they were not super explosive. And against Texas this week, we're going to see an explosive team. Wait till B. John Robinson walks up in here and Hudson Card. These guys can really attack you. But I think you're right, Tommy. I think the Rice 2 QB system wasn't super productive, and I hopefully we'll be able to see Malik Hornsby one day pretty soon.
Tom, I thought it was pretty telling from Arkansas offensive lineman Dalton Wagner that he said 2 years ago this team would have caved, they would have given up, but he talked about how they were fully bought in and they never doubted themselves. There were some coaches that were cracking jokes and smiling on the sidelines because they knew at one point. What do you think that says about the mentality of the team that even down a deficit 17-7, they didn't seem to be flustered?
Yeah, well, it speaks very well of them that they believe. And, hey, look, guys, as soon as we can get this thing turned around, we can come back, we can win this game, and which is exactly what they did. And, it helped that they got those takeaways without the 2 Catalan picks that were returned really deep. And Monteric Brown, who, by the way, that was a beautiful interception. It was like a textbook.
Yeah.
That one's when Monteric Brown goes to the NFL, that play is going to be right up there in his highlight package. Work to do at the other cornerback, but I just think that their talent eventually won out. And once KJ settled into the game, that was so. We talked about it in the entire lead-up. How well will KJ play? Well, he wasn't playing very well, and when the Burke stuff backfired on him, they didn't look very good. They looked horrible. And then when he did start playing well, they were a different team. Yeah, and he just got to deliver the ball on time a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any doubt that, once Arkansas got rolling in that second offensive drive, they started to feel it a little bit. But no question, as the third quarter waned on into the fourth, the heat of the day, the SEC depth on the home sideline versus Conference USA depth on the other, that really became exposed, I thought, late third quarter, early fourth, and you started seeing some gaps between these two teams, and that's when we have to remind ourselves it's a four-quarter game, and, Tom, that's when Arkansas' size, speed, and depth took over. No doubt about it.
Guys were cramping up left and right for Rice. I can't remember how many guys went down. And it was funny. Sam Pittman, it was almost like he was chastising the media a little bit. Like, guys, it's a full – we can talk about that first half a lot, but it's a full game. And, but the coaches, I guarantee you what their meetings with the guys are going to be improving and correcting the stuff that happened in the first half, because that's how you become a better football team.
Tom,
I agree with you. Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
No, finish your thought, bud.
Well, no, I just agree that Arkansas's talent won out, and they should have won that game. And I didn't know if they were going to cover, and it was a really weird cover, but they did cover.
Well, I don't know if a night game would have made it close, or a different outcome, but I think a night game would have made it closer. I'll put it that way, because I think the heat of the day was an edge to Arkansas. Tom, good stuff here on a Monday. We can't wait to talk Hogs and Horns with you on Thursday.
That sounds great, man. We will break it down then. See
it's that time of the year again, and all eyes are now turning to football as teams are back on the gridiron to start the football season. As always, BetOnline is your #1 spot for all of the pro and college football action this season. Get all of the updated odds, props, and contests, including the online's biggest $500,000 NFL mega contest, the world's largest 200,000 NFL Survivor contest, open now at BetOnline. Here's what you have to do. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 100% welcome bonus. Take advantage of their opening day super promo. Make a bet on the Thursday, September 9th season opener between the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. And if you lose, your wager's going to be refunded for up to $25 for new customers only when signing up and using the promo code NFL100. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts.